Are we all coasted up? Yay! We are so excited to be hosting you here at our casa. Our casa is your casa in our Western Mutual. I am so excited to introduce to you Carlos Canales, who is the VP of Engineering and also our HITEC executive sponsor, and we call him here El Padrino. Not the tío, El Padrino. And I'll give you a little bit of background why the Padrino, right? So as all of you know, what does a godfather do? Take care of their ahijados, right? So ever since he started at NM, he just came in and started taking us all our high tech under his wing and has been a huge advocate. So thank you, Padrino, for the work, and thank you for bringing this event to us.
Thank you. Thank you for that great introduction. Muy buenas tardes. Yo creo que vamos a empezar este evento un poquito con español. ¿Cuántos me entienden el español? Eso está perfecto. Bienvenidos y primeramente les quiero decir que les agradezco muchísimo por haberse registrado, por estar acá, por tomar su tiempo. Yo sé que todos estamos muy ocupados, así que les agradezco muchísimo por estar aquí con nosotros. Tenemos un evento acá muy interesante, el cual lo que queremos hacer ahora es enseñarles un poco de quién es NM, Northwestern Mutual, cuál es lo que hace HITEC. Le agradecemos muchísimo a HITEC por todo lo que por hacer este evento con nosotros, que en realidad sin ellos no hubiéramos podido tener a todos ustedes. As Social mentioned, my name is Carlos Canales. I'm VP of Engineering here at Northwestern Mutual. I've been here at NM for, I want to say, a little over a year, maybe a year and a month. The first time that I actually joined a high-tech event was last October, for the first time ever. And I was sold. I felt like it was my familia, you know? It's like I feel like I found my community. And from the event in October, I talked to RD, many of you know RD, right? RD and I talked and we said, we'll have a little tiny event in Houston where we'll have a little social with like 20 people. 65 of you showed up. And so we were like, okay, we really mean when we have to be prepared when we tell people that we're going to have an event, because you turn out. The Latino community turns out all the time. So we have a very exciting agenda today, and we're happy that you're here. We want to start off by showing you a little video from our CEO, John Schlifsky, and I think they're going to cue it up so that you can get a little bit of what we've been doing in the diversity and social impact space.
Every aspect of our business centers on doing what's right for our employees, financial advisors and representatives, our clients, and the communities we serve, delivering the business results our stakeholders expect today and building a better tomorrow for generations to come. As a 167-year-old company that takes a long-term approach to managing our business, it's a natural fit to build sustainability principles and social impact practices across our business. And as a mutual company that exists solely for the benefit of our policy owners, we have a proven track record of sound governance and accountability. In our 2023 Sustainability and Social Impact Report, you'll see our generational commitment to doing what's right come to life in the meaningful actions we've taken and the progress we've made. Driven by our mission to improve lives through financial security, we've served over 5 million Americans while delivering a record-setting $7.3 billion in dividends to our policy owners. But we've also taken bold steps to expand financial access in historically underrepresented communities. We're improving access to venture capital with a goal of investing $20 million each in women and African American and Black entrepreneurs. And we've increased our impact investment fund up to $175 million. And alongside the Northwestern Mutual Foundation, we've invested in our communities. Since 2012, we've donated more than $50 million nationally through our childhood cancer program. And over the last 25 years, we've contributed more than $60 million to advance access to quality education for Milwaukee area students. We continue to strengthen our culture of belonging. Our employees and advisors have never been more diverse, with women and people of color tapping new opportunities while enabling us to reach and serve new markets. And we work to reduce our environmental impact across our corporate footprint through energy efficiency, carbon reduction, and water and waste management. One new example is our new $500 million investment in the North Office building at our downtown Milwaukee campus, where we're seeking to divert at least 75% of the construction waste from landfills. These results serve to motivate us in the year ahead and further reinforce our conviction in the company's mission and values. Our commitment to sustainability, social impact, and strong governance is just one more way we live our mutual values and look to the future as we build a better tomorrow.
Great. Can you hear me okay again? Okay, great. Yeah, this is we wanted to show you a quick little video because as we had conversations with many different people, you may not know what NM is all about. And so today what we want to try to do is share some information about what Northwestern Mutual does, and so that you walk away knowing a little bit more. At this time, I'd like to introduce our opening remarks. Dave Gorton, our CTO of Northwestern Mutual, who is my boss, by the way, so please be nice. We have Omar Duque, who is the president of HITEC, and Rosa Ramos-Kwok, who is the HITEC board chair, correct?
No, thanks everyone for being here. While I'm the CTO, I work here in the New York office, and I guess I'm the head of the New York office. So a lot of pride in our New York office. I hope you're enjoying it. I like to talk about I hope you find time to look at each corner of the office or each side, because of the, on the south you'll see the Statue of Liberty. If you look west, you'll see Jersey City and the Hudson. If you look east, you'll see the Oculus, obviously, and the World Trade Memorial. It's just an incredible office view, and so we love it here. Hope you enjoy your visit here today, and welcome. From a role perspective, I'm a Chief Technology Officer, which at Northwestern Mutual means I head up the application work, all the engineering work for all the applications that support the company. Carlos plays a major role in our organization, so thank you again, Carlos, for being here. I'm sorry for hosting everyone's presence here. It's fantastic to see all of you. If you look at HITEC, it's something we've really committed to this year through Carlos's leadership, but we have so much that we want to do in terms of attracting, retaining, and developing our employees, not just within ESD or engineering solution delivery, but really across the whole company. Because the New York office is about 85% technology employees, technology-related employees. It's a natural affinity, but we have a lot of passion here in New York for technology. And so it's a natural fit for you all to be here and for you to hear about, you'll hear from a number of employees and how they've benefited from the HITEC program. So we're excited for you to be here. Again, thank you for your participation, your commitment to the HITEC program, and you'll hear again from the Northwestern Mutual side how we are also committed. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Omar to go next and talk about his experiences.
Dave, thank you. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Xochitl. And good afternoon. It's so great to be here in New York City for our 2024 Summer Regional event hosted by Northwestern Mutual. As you can see, I am HITEC president, and I am the proud son of immigrants from Guatemala. Carlos and I, when we met here a couple of months ago, had the opportunity to connect on some interesting idiosyncrasies, right, of being from Central America and growing up here in the United States. But that's one of the core things that we do at HITEC, right? It's something called the HITEC Check-In, where it's really about recognizing how diverse we are, even as a community, right? We are a diverse community that brings so much to the table, so much to the companies that we work with, companies like Northwestern Mutual, Fortune 100 companies that we work with, to really drive enterprise value, to drive growth, and to drive innovation. And so that's something that we always like to do, is recognize where our backgrounds are from. I want to take a couple of minutes to recognize some of the HITEC leadership that is here with us. You're going to hear from her next, but HITEC chair, Rosa Ramos-Kwok, is here. our Vice Chair, Miriam Hernandez-Keiko. Our member of our Executive Committee and HITEC Treasurer, Daryl Higueros, is here, although I think that he might be taking a call in another room, but super excited that Daryl was able to make the trip to be here. And then also HITEC board member, Jonathan Echeverria, who's over here in the front row. This is the group of individuals, part of the group of individuals that works to build the vision and the focus of our organization. And I'm incredibly honored to work with them on a daily basis as we continue our work to accelerate the power and impact of Hispanic technology professionals and executives from the classroom all the way to the boardroom. I also want to take a minute to recognize Northwestern Mutual's leadership team for their steadfast dedication to our mission, including, we heard from him earlier in the video, John Schlifsky, Northwestern Mutual CEO, also Dave Gordon, CTO, Anju Gupta, who I had the pleasure to hear at a conference last week and who you'll hear from today, as well as Kendall Sorlosano, Uma Vandergrift, Andy Weisenborn, and of course, Northwestern Mutual's HITEC sponsor and supporter of our work, Carlos Canales. HITEC is proud to partner with Northwestern Mutual, HITEC is proud to partner with Northwestern Mutual, Carlos and his entire team. And today we're going to be highlighting some trends and topics and how Northwestern Mutual is working to advance technology and attract the diverse talent we know is needed in today's world. I think we can all agree that technology both as an industry and as a whole is the fastest growing sector in the US and globally. Technology has permeated every single industry and is the most critical engine for growth in any business and any sector. With the exponential growth of technology comes also a deep need for technology talent. Corporate executives say that the ability to attract, develop, and retain top technology talent is both a top priority, but also one of the biggest risks to businesses in the next 10 years. 95% of technology managers say they struggle when looking for skilled talent, and 63% say they're hiring for new roles today. Now, why is that important as we're having this conversation, right? Hispanics today make up 19% of the US population, with about 63.3 million people in the United States. Not only that, the Hispanic community continues to grow faster than any other population segment in the US, growing 3 times faster than the general population. And 23% of millennials are Hispanic and 26% of Gen Z are Hispanic. Again, why is that important? And I think, we heard in the video and we heard from Dave, we know that diverse companies are 70% more likely to capture new markets than those who lack diversity. And we know that companies with diverse leadership are 33% more likely to outperform their competitors. Additionally, on the employee side, we know that 63% of employees prioritize diversity when choosing an employer. And that number goes up as we go into younger generations. 68% for millennials, 73% for Gen Z. So this is where HITEC comes in, because we bring all of this together. Diverse leaders who are skilled in technology, who are helping companies innovate and grow. HITEC is committed to helping our partners like Northwestern Mutual retain and attract top Hispanic technology talent. We do this in a number of ways. Number one, by bringing this incredible community together at events like this, by bringing the community together at events like our spring and our fall summit, and looking forward to seeing those of you who will be with us in October, hosted by Capital One in McLean, Virginia. And then we do it by helping diverse leaders develop the leadership skills that they need in order to drive innovation and business success. And we do that in partnership with companies like Northwestern Mutual, like Capital One, like JP Morgan Chase, and like so many more that are part of the Fortune 100. The catalyst for sustainable growth in today's rapidly changing environment lies at the intersection of technology, leadership skills, and culture. So as we're here today, I ask you to certainly be present, pay attention, engage with our speakers and our topic, but I also want to make sure that you are connecting with each other. Our community is incredibly vibrant and incredibly helpful to each other. And we make it a point to bring people together so that you know who is part of this amazing community that is HITEC. So please take time to meet somebody new, to build new relationships, to connect on LinkedIn, but then also just in general. One of the things that we always like to say is we are not at HITEC transactional. We are here for the long term. We are here to build meaningful connections and meaningful relationships because that is how we get ahead as a community. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce the chair of the HITEC Board of Directors. She is also the managing director at JP Morgan Chase and Global Banking Business Information Security Officer. Please join me in welcoming Rosa Ramos-Kwak.
Hola, hola, welcome, welcome, and bienvenidos a todos. Me encanta su casa. I'm kind of loving your house. It's very nice. I love the light. Yeah. Could talk later. Anyway, so I'm Rosa Ramos-Kwak, as you heard. I'm the very proud chair of HITEC, and it's an absolute pleasure being here. New York City is part of my heart. I was born in the Dominican Republic. You see that from my little flag up there, right? So born in the Dominican Republic, but I came here as a toddler, and I was raised, and my life was a few miles north of here. Any Dominicanos that grew up in Washington Heights? Yay, yeah, that's right, that's right. So very, very Dominican, how appropriate. Yesterday was the Dominican Day Parade, and Washington Heights is the future home of the Dominican Cultural Center in New York City. So kind of cool, fun fact. So just walking into this space, so many people said this already, you get the feeling. It is inexplainable. It's familia, it's culture, it's a culmination of all of those things. I shook hands with many, but I also hugged many of you because that is the Latino way. And we don't have to know each other for a long time, but we already get the sense that somehow we have a connection. Whether that is cultural, whether that is language, whether that is country, whether that is what we eat. I love me some rice and beans, I love me some plátanos, right? But we get each other. And this is why HITEC has continued to hold a special place in my heart. And I know HITEC holds a special place in many of your hearts. And if we don't hold a special place in your heart today, I know that we will very soon. And so this community understands that it is our time, nuestro tiempo, to take all of those opportunities, all of that Latino imperative that Omar spoke about, our growth, our place in business, everything that we're bringing to this country, just bring all of that together and make our future and the potential and the possibilities a reality. From the classroom to the boardroom, so carefully crafted in our mission statement that our board so carefully worked on, and especially the Vice Chair, Miriam Hernandez-Cacol, which is, many of those are her words that are echoed in our mission statement. It is up to the leaders in this room and beyond to touch others. How many of you are mentors? How many of you were touched by mentorship? Right. We all need community. And we need to put our experience, our culture, our enthusiasm, right? It's not just about dancing. It's not just about music. It's enthusiasm for each other. It's alegría. It's that future looking, that passion, that optimism to drive our community to have that lasting impact for generations to come. Because if not us, then who? It is up to us. Thank you, Northwestern Mutual, for hosting us. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, everyone, for hosting us. And thank you all for being here. Muchísimas gracias. Xochitl, take it away, my friend.
Can you hear me? Testing, testing, 1, 2, there we are. All right, so you all know Selena, right? Yeah, okay. So when we have that, we expect you to dance to it. Just so you know, we're getting started, right? All right. Well, as you heard, right, we are in for a treat today. So get comfortable. I see we have a standing room here just for those of you arriving. We can still get cozied up a little bit if you want to make your way here. Otherwise, we have an overflow room. So you can come down the stairs, and then we have a room to the left where we'll be projecting as well so you can be comfortable. Look for the people that have the pin. My friends over there that have the Ask Me for help, they can also guide you if you need to take the elevator down. All right. So let's get started. Welcome. Again, for those that missed it, bathrooms are in this floor around the corner. Guys with the Ask Me for help can guide you. Wi-Fi password, Fortune 90, all lowercase, all one word. So a little bit about me before we get started here. So my name is Xochitl Gonzalez, and it is pronounced Xochitl. So 98% of you don't get a pass. The rest of you, I won't hold it against you. So if you need to say it in English, it's social. I'm sociable, all right? So that's me. I am so honored to be your MC today. And like many of you, I am from Veracruz, Mexico, so it's like the coast. Yeah, we love the sun. That's why I'm wearing the sunshine today, because I love the sun. I am a senior director of business operations strategy and planning for Northwestern Mutual, and I reside in Milwaukee, so I'm a Milwaukeean at this point. I am a mom of 3 beautiful children. Believe it or not, I have an almost 22-year-old senior in college. I have an 18-year-old and a 10-year-old that runs the house pretty much. My journey spans in over 15 years in different roles in tech strategy, program management, supplier quality, compliance, organizational development. And like many of you, I found my home when I joined HITEC, right? So I am super excited because I am an alumni. I went through the EEP program a couple years ago. And I have to share that just what was shared here before, right? The impact of actually joining in person and feeling the vibe has no measure when you join in person, right? And a lot of the things that we'll hear about today, you'll see why. When we'll be doing some checks later to see how you're doing, what you're getting out of it. As a proud HITEC, I'll share a little journey. When I joined, I was starting my PhD journey. And just like in life, right, family, kids, work, I was like, I can't do this. This is not for me. Maybe I should take a pause. And I was contemplating it. Then I joined the EEP program. And I see the magnitude and the power and the potential. And I'm like, why do I have to give up? And like Rosa said, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? So I kept going. So I take pride in saying and sharing the HITEC really played a big role in me finishing and walking the stage, becoming a doctor this past May. So thank you, familia. So I am Dr. Xochitl. Let's connect on LinkedIn and let's get this party started. Are you ready? Yeah. Awesome. All right. So you're going to have a lot of awesome panelists and a lot of things going on today. So again, we're going to start with some AI from our very own and very best Dr. Anju Gupta. Then we're going to talk about a little bit about engineering excellence and going through the journey. What does that mean here at NM? We'll come to a little bit of a networking social. Yes, we will have a clock up there because we all know Latinos like to network, just to keep the agenda moving here. We'll come back to a panel where we're going to be talking about financial and all the fun stuff happening at NM and how do we impact that in our community. And then we're going to come back to having a little bit of a HITEC foundation. For those of you that don't know what it is, you can hear and learn more about it. And we're going to take this home with our very own panel of alumni and also members of the whole push-up, pull-up, as you all know. So with that, we're going to close it with, of course, Omar and Carlos at the end. So get ready. Are you all ready for some AI? Yeah. All right. Let's see how much you really know. So I'm going to quiz you. The first thing, and I'm going to do this by show of hands. So wait until I tell you the answer, and then you wave your hand. So what do you think is the percentage of companies that have reported using at least one form of AI technology as of last year? If you think it's 40% the A, raise your hands. All right, let's see how our technologists in the room are knowledgeable. B? All right. C? Yeah. B is the answer. So as of 2023, according to a report by McKinsey, at least 70% of companies today are implementing. And of course, you'll hear more about it from our very own Anju here. So Dr. Anju is Vice President of Artificial Intelligence at NM, and she's accountable for providing technical leadership, guiding the company's AI roadmap, and collaborating with cross-functional teams to deliver business-driven AI solutions. She joined the company in October of 2020 and has been instrumental, which is a small world, for all the work that she does, helping shape the Northwestern Mutual's AI initiatives, including building an ethical framework for implementing AI products. And as technologists, we know that's a big deal, right? She is also a member of the Northwestern Mutual's Data Science Institute Executive Steering Team, which is a partnership that contributes to the formation of a technology ecosystem and advances Southern Wisconsin as a national hub for technology. Andrew also serves on the AI advisory board of Limbra, Loma, the Milky Way Tech Hub Coalition, and a few AI startups. So if we said all the names right, we'll be here all day, but she's amazing. She has been recognized as the 2023 Women of Influence by Marquee, 2023 and 2024 top 50 global data power women, and 2024 top 100 AI professionals in the US. What an honor, Andrew, Dr. Andrew.
Wow, it sounds great when somebody else is reading your CV. But anyways, no, thank you very much for inviting me here. And it was great to meet you, Omar, last week. I see the India flag there. I have been an immigrant as well. Flown my first flight to US ever, almost 25 years ago. And since then, I've been here. I graduated from Ohio State, the Ohio State. So if any Buckeyes fan in the audience? One is always enough in a crowd. And when I joined Ohio State, I didn't know what football was, but I fell in love with the game. Okay. How many of you have heard or seen the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once? Okay, so if I were to define generative AI in one sentence, that would be it. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. But in all seriousness, when I think about myself, I feel like I'm the person in this image, right in the corner, trying to figure out how to serve. I know how to serve. I know how to do AI. But then I see a big surf coming. And what I don't know is if I am or my organization is ready to take that surf, take the big leap. I want to do front hand flip. I want to do the backhand flips. I want to get stoked in the end, but for that, what I really need to do is get my organization ready to be able to do the surfing with me. Generative AI is a fairly new phenomenon. We had tried to do a lot of natural language processing before 2022, which is, again, it's a language model, but it was bad. We could do all the mathematical models really well, but never had success with any of the language models. Guess what happened in November of 2022? It was in the hands of everybody and all of us could do it. But none of us had been trained, including the AI leaders, had been trained in the generative AI phenomena. So that's why this surfing is really important to me, because I didn't know a whole lot about generative AI. The amount of papers I read during the November 2022 to January 2023 was immense, because I also realized that I needed to get the organization ready for this phenomena to come in and reap value. So what I'll do is I'll walk you through some of my own journey within the space of AI, how I have learned and how I have seen the world change around AI. Then also give you a feel for what we are seeing almost every day in the newspaper, in the news articles. And then what does it take? Because almost all of you are responsible for leading some form and fashion within your organization. And AI is going to be hint of it. If you're not leading it, it will be part of how you'll be driving your organization. So I'll give you a hint of what it takes to drive a maturity towards AI. And then, reaching enlightenment. That's worded very well, because we haven't reached there yet. When it comes to generative AI, we are all testing and learning. But I'll give you a flavor of what I'm seeing in the industry and what I'm seeing at Northwestern Mutual as well. So a quick reminder on AI 101. So this is through the lens of how I have seen the world. Almost 70 years ago, the term was coined artificial intelligence at a Dartmouth conference. And a couple years before that, the Turing test was discovered. How many of you know about the Turing test? Some of you. So the Turing test is essentially a test where a human judge asks a question, and it's a blind test, and the answer was given by a human and an algorithm. And the judge does not know which one is human, which one is algorithm, and then he has to figure out which answer is given by the human. No AI algorithm has passed that test until now. So when you hear about all the GPT phenomena, these are the LLMs that have passed Turing tests. That's record. That's record. The only reason they say that they do not pass it because it's hard-coded. When the human judge asks, are you an artificial intelligence algorithm? The answer is they're coded to say yes. That's the only reason they don't pass the test. Other than that, they are very well versed in understanding how we anticipate sentiments and emotions. You've all heard about the Deep Blue, algorithm beating chess, algorithm beating AlphaGo. So Deep Blue, Watson, all of that came in. And I know there's multiple people from IBM here. So thank you very much for all the record inventions that you guys were doing. And then came ImageNet at around 2012. That's when I was leading, before that I was leading data science teams. So 2012, I was still leading a very large data science teams. We were running all the mathematical models, not doing too much of deep learning algorithm, which is the term that started to get coined and became mainstream in 2012 by Jeff Hinton, who is the father of deep learning. So he came in at ImageNet Challenge, and his job was to predict 1,000 images using an algorithm, images of cat. And his algorithm was able to do it in record time that industry had not seen before that. So in 2012, guess what we did? We formed an AI Center of Excellence, and I was asked to lead that. That's when I learned a lot about the deep learning. And then came the transformer models, which is, again, a great gift by all the Googlers within Google space. And they made the phenomenon of large language models possible. What we are able to do it with generative AI, we wouldn't have been able to do it if transformer models by Google hadn't been open sourced at that time. Then we've all seen this graph over and over again. These are the large language models that started to come in. And since this graph was published, there's 100 other newer models that has come in, which is far better than what it was before. I take pride in showing this other graph. This is on your left-hand side. It shows all the GPT-4o and GPT-3.5 is in blue, 4o is in green, and it shows how well these algorithms can beat, or can take all the tests, AP biology, AP chemistry, your AP literature, your medical exams, USMLE, and they pass with flying colors. What gives me joy in this and job security for my job is the mathematical models. Guess what? It does not pass it. Again, these are generative AI. When you hear that term, these are language models. They really do well in understanding what is the next sentence what is the next word within a sentence, but they don't do very well in the mathematical models, which is what all the artificial intelligence folks pre-2020 are trained in. So we do tons of that work. So I'll give you a bit precursor on AI, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. So what I call them classical AI and generative AI. Classical AI is what the industry taught us the most. So your deep learning, your machine learning, what those algorithms do is they are pure mathematical models, and they predict the outcomes based on large, vast amounts of data, numerical data that we have, what we call big data. So your recommendation engine, when you watch Netflix, it goes after the recommendation engine, tells you what's the next movie you want to watch or you may like, which may not be. Sometimes it gets so error propagated with the movies that I watch that I don't like their recommendations. But engine is a classic machine learning models. Then you have deep learning models, which is all the image detection. Then comes the language model, which is generative AI. Those are the models that are based on predicting the next word in a sentence. As humans, we were really bad at being able to predict the next word or the sentiment in vast plethora of text, but these models do really well at them. What I call them as language models. So we have all seen AI is now, in the newspaper almost every day. I was taking a flight a couple of days ago, and this is the first time I walked into a news store, which you always see at the airport. And I decided to buy a few magazines. And I don't buy magazines at the airport. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to pick all the AI magazines that's in the shelf today and see how many I buy. Guess what? I ended up with 12 magazines with front page saying AI. I've read only a few of them so far. But again, this is how much it's going from boardroom conversation to every dinner table conversation. So this happened in 2020, late 2020 or early 2023, financial insurance primed for immediate disruption. We all knew that every industry, every vertical is primed for disruption because of what's happening, because of the potential of what these models can do. But then came last week. What happened? Everybody is talking about the AI bubble getting burst, right? CNN, it was headline on the CNN last week. It was headline in the Forbes. It was headline in all the articles that are coming in. Is the technology about to burst? What I call this a new technology syndrome. What you see there is the appetite for us as humans to stay true to something that we committed for a very long time. That's really hard. And that is hard for me as well, because when I'm running some of these models, my team will tell you, I am looking for outcomes. Am I seeing outcomes to the record speed that it was promised to me by the external industry 2 years ago? Of course not. Guess what's coming in the way? Change management. Us being able to try to adopt these technology and being able to change our behavior, that is not easy. And these algorithms are asking us to do that. So I'll talk a little bit more about it later. But then skill set gap. We talked about HITEC and we talked about how we are all coming together. What we are seeing in the industry a lot, which is what I had to learn as well, is these are new phenomena. We need new types of training to the folks that we have trained in the past. Prompt engineering is a skill set that wasn't there before. Guess what? That's becoming the main skill now for us to drive adoption to some of the technology that we are putting into production. And prompt engineering is not really an engineering skill set, which it took me a while to learn because I was training my team to become a prompt engineer, part of the engineering team to become prompt engineer. But when we started to deploy these tools and tech, search and retrieval, into production, we quickly realized that we needed these prompt engineering training skill set for our business users, because they need to ask questions in a better way to these chatbots that we are deploying to them. Chatbots, after all, it's an AI algorithm. It doesn't know what you're asking for. It needs a precise instruction. So the better we are in giving instructions to these AI algorithms, the better it will be in giving us the response that you're looking for. What I definitely believe strongly is we'll all need to define our path to success. The place where we are standing today, we don't know where it's going to go. We know that we are at a peak right now with Gen AI technology. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. But what we also know is where is the path going to be is something that we need to define ourselves. What we are definitely seeing in the industry is pouring dollars into this. When CNN and when AI came in the news 2 weeks ago, or even the last week, and everybody is talking about bubble bursting, they're also talking about how Google, Meta, which is Facebook, and Microsoft, they're pouring close to $50 billion every year, each company independently. What that tells me is, yes, there are smart people. They are investing because we see the value. So the trough is going to be there. It's not going to go away. We just need to define our path and see what success looks like for this. The graph on the left-hand side is about the adoption curve, which is unprecedented. You have never seen the kind of adoption curve that we are seeing with these generative AI phenomena. So let's talk a little bit about path to maturity based on what at least I learned so far by deploying these technology. So when I started my journey into AI, this was 2012. Let's begin 2012. There were maybe 50 companies. This is right after November 2023. And this was Matt Turk. If you don't follow him, I would highly recommend. He puts this out every year, just the speed with which the startups are coming in. And what happens here is last year, the industry spent $12 billion into startups only. This year, $14 billion into startups only. And these are the startups that are only in the AI space. So industry is pouring money into defining what success will look like. So one of the things we do is we define a test and learn sandbox for scaling so that we are quickly adopting and quickly moving forward. And that only AI team cannot do it. We partner heavily with our infrastructure team. I'm sure some of them are here. We partner heavily with our engineering team. We partner heavily with our privacy, legal, and security teams as well, so that we can bring these startups in a safe and secure form, and then we can able to test them quickly to see what it makes out for us. Success is definitely dependent on key technology enablers. You just don't need a large language model. That is not the answer. You need way more than a large language model. So if you break it down, we always hear about generative AI, but generative AI, large language model, is just one component of many for you to be successful. It all starts with your semantic search layer. So Microsoft has a fairly great semantic search layer. There are other search layers that will come in as well. Then you've got the privacy and governance tech stack that comes in. There's many tech stacks that come in, and you need to be aware of what are those different layers that you need to be forming partnership with, because these are the things that are already built in the industry. You don't need to build in-house. You just need to figure out what are the technology that you're going to go after, who are the partners you're going to bring in to build your tech stack so that you can start to test and learn some of the use cases within your own environment. So I've given you a flavor of what are the different stack layers that is involved within building this operating system, and also a flavor of what are the different partners that you can work with. The path to success is heavily dependent on experimenting. So experiment as much as you can, but experiment by bringing your business along. So we sit on roughly 100 use cases that are in our backlog. And the way those use cases are formed is we sit down with our business partners. We help them understand what is the potential of this technology, and also figure out and do a workshop with them on what are the use cases that can be beneficial for their functions. Once you have the use case, then you start to learn and experiment with them. As I said, experimenting is key. And the only way for you to be able to experiment is if your business partners are coming along with you in helping drive the deployment of these technology. So again, when I think about generative AI or AI in general, plain blank, it is a team sport. You cannot do it alone. There's no way. There's so many different things that you need to drive forward. Technology is the easiest in this piece. It's bringing your legal and privacy partners, bringing your business partners, driving the change management is the bigger deal here. Then you also need to ensure that when you get into production, then you have a Gen AI policy defined by your organization. You end up writing as an AI team. We ended up writing with our model governance team. Then LLM ops. We all know about the machine learning operation. That's a defined mathematical form. We know when our machine learning algorithm will predict what type of accuracy, and we know that whether we accept that accuracy or not. With LLMs, we have all heard that it hallucinates. We know that, we have seen it, that it does hallucinate. So how do you put that in the hands of your business users who can help drive and understand that, okay, these are the moments when it's hallucinating, and these are the use cases when you're willing to take that risk. And then the benchmarking. I absolutely think fundamental about the benchmarking. And the reason is, right now, most of us are using the GPT-4s and the GPT-3.5s by the OpenAI. But what's happening in the industry since the 4.0 or 3.5 came in? There's hundreds of large language models that has come in, right? There's open source. Meta recently published their Llama 30 billion. Then DBRX, which is the Databricks platform. There are different large language models that are coming in, which is zero cost. So benchmarking is all about setting up your environment and ensuring that you are testing all these models so that you can continue to make sure that the cost that you need to drive forward with still stays low for this. So I'm a big believer in driving the benchmarking as well. So we do that benchmarking internally to ensure that we are looking at LLMs that are low cost for us, because 4.0 or 3.5, 3.5 is not that expensive. But most of you, how many of you are trying 4.0? Do you know? Okay, there's some. So 4.0 is still quite expensive, so that's why we do the testing to ensure that we keep our cost low. So what have we learned so far? One of the things I'll say is, we have got 3 use cases into production with AI, and these are all search and retrieval use cases. So what happens in every company, you have plethora of unstructured asset, which is your language content, your intranet data asset that sits somewhere within your cloud infrastructure. And when you've got your own internal employees or your in our case, field staff wanting to search and retrieve some of those content that we publish for them, it's hard because we are used to Google-like experience when we are searching something. And everybody doesn't have a PageRank algorithm. That's why they have the patterns for what it needs to be, and the company intranet do not have that. So what we do is we put LLM on top for folks to search and retrieve the content, anything that they're wanting to search over there. So we have 3 use cases. All of them are search and retrieval use cases, and they're in full production, one with 1,000 users, the other one is roughly 250 to 300 users, and the other one is much larger pool. So what we have learned as we started to build those is ensure that data is available to you and your team. And these are the data, unstructured assets. When I call unstructured, these are all your textual assets that are sitting in cloud environment somewhere that we didn't know how to use it before. So what in this case, just make sure that you are making the data available to the folks or the teams that are wanting to work with it. Aligning on business value is critical because some of the ones that you're going to learn in the beginning are the ones that are going to pave the way for your company. So make sure you understand the value proposition of what you're going to drive and then drive forward with that. Infrastructure is going to be key. When I meet with external industry leaders, when I talk to the leaders externally, most of them, most of them tell me that their infrastructure team is not able to enable them because of the legal, because of the privacy, because of all the other ethical issues. So infrastructure is critical. Make sure you're partnering with your infrastructure team to make those tools and assets available to you. Test, learn, and deploy Gen AI products. I cannot stress enough, train, train, train. Nobody knows how to do this. Majority of the people in the industry do not know how to do this. We are all learning. So when we started on this journey, one of the things that we did is we drove forward LLM certification for a large portion of my team members. So roughly 60 of them, we trained them into the newer ways of doing work with large language models. Prompt engineering, the basic Gen AI. We host AI symposium now. We host Gen AI symposium. So we bring people together. We are learning it all together with each other. And then collaborate with business units. There's no way you will be successful if you cannot work very closely with the business, get them excited, and help them drive the outcome within this space. And then frameworks and policies. This is where I'm seeing a lot of companies get stuck because they don't have frameworks on how to do benchmarking, which you may or may not need it 5 years from now, but if you're wanting to be a leader in the industry, you need to be able to do the benchmarking. Optimize for latency. This is something that we are still learning. Do we have the best latency in the world right now? Probably not. ChatGPT is much faster than our own internal GPT solutions, but that is something we can live for now, but latency is something that you'll have to optimize for. And then unit cost requirement. Keep an eye onto the cost that you will spend on this. You may not get one thing, and I've said, Omar and I heard that last week as well. You may not get the cost benefits right now, but don't worry about it. This is something as a leader you have to invest. That is my fundamental belief. For every new product, it takes at least 18 months for the product to find a fit and 18 months for launch. So stay patient. Make sure your exec team understands that you have to stay patient through this. The answer will not be right away, and make sure your board understands it as well, that this is going to take time. But these are the bets as a company that you have to take to make sure you are able to transform. And then again, the frameworks are within the framework and policy. Ethical and responsible AI practice is something that I take personally. When I started working within the AI space, I was at Monsanto. And almost all of you probably know Monsanto. It's a genetically modified, company that does a lot of work on corn and soybean. So I used to meet with regulators quite a bit because we were building AI algorithms. And I was trained there very well in what is an ethical and responsible deployment of AI technology looks like. To the point that one year my office was right next to the White House because we were meeting with regulators that much. So some of those learnings I was able to bring back here within NM as well. At Northwestern Mutual, we have a fairly strong model governance team, which we work very closely with. And then we deploy so as soon as the Gen AI came in, we worked together to build a Gen AI policy for the entire company, and we have launched it. And then we also do the bias testing. So for some of the algorithms that we deploy in production, these are mathematical models. We test for whether there is any bias for any race, religion, or any of the prohibitive factors that we do. That's the work that we do under attorney-client privilege, but we always make sure that our algorithms are unbiased and belong within an ethical framework. So this is our model risk oversight structure. I wanted to make sure you have a sense for, as you're deploying this, I know there are some of the folks from the governance team here, but as you're deploying these AI, not only the deep learning, machine learning, but also an AI, but also the generative AI functions, one of the things that we do very carefully is we have an AI council. So every backlog, every use case that comes in, AI council is made up of our set of senior leaders. They have to approve the use case that we'll be working on. And once the council approves it, then we have cybersecurity team that looks at it. We have a model governance team that looks at it. One can say that this is a lot of red tape, and I am dead against red tape. I love running fast, but these are the red tapes I put myself with my model governance team to make sure that anything we are deploying, we at least have a record of what we are deploying, and we at least have a sense to ensure that it is ethical and it is unbiased on how it gets deployed. And then what are the key learnings? Tons of key learnings in the first few phases of, I can barely see here, so I'll move up. So again, as I said before, business and AI team collaboration is critical. Twice a year, we host workshop with our business leaders. And our business folks, so head of underwriting, oh, thank you. Head of underwriting, they made it bigger here, so that helps. So our head of underwriting, he brings in his entire team, and I take my team, and we host a all-day workshop session with them to identify what are the use cases that can help accelerate their workload. And the question that we ask during that workshop is not about what are the things you can do for yourself. It's about what are the things that you are not able to do, and it's highly complex in nature. Those are the only workloads that we take within the AI team. Change management, I cannot stress that enough. Change management is needed from top to bottom of every organization if you were into implementing AI. It really comes in when AI technology comes in, it hits what we do. The things that it takes me, even, the things that takes me 1 to 2 hours, like writing an individual development goal, right? It takes me at least a day and a half to write that goal. ChatGPT, I'm able to do it in less than maybe 20 minutes. It gives me a good version of what I'm looking for, and then I work on it and modify it. That's a clean human workforce-machine interaction. And then AI pod team structure. This is something that has given us a lot of benefit as we are moving forward. So with every business line, I have a pod team structure. So there's a few members of my team, data engineers, data scientists, program management, and then the few members from the business team, they work together. They essentially sit together at the same time to help drive those use cases within that function. So pod team structure is very critical, ensuring the ethical and responsible AI deployment. So if you have any questions around that, I'm more than happy to talk about it. And then advancement in technology, as I said before, it's completely unprecedented. We have never seen any pace of innovation like the way we are seeing right now, and it's only getting better. Search and retrieval deployments. So search and retrieval is essentially what we call retrieval, and you will hear that word, retrieval augmented generation, which is the RAG. We can deploy one in 3 months, right? But deploying is not the key. It's being able to drive the change management for your call center reps, for your field staff to start to adopt those and start to use those. That's a little bit of difficult part, but that's going to take time. And then integrated AI systems deployment. Make sure that when you are deploying these tools, you are going after end-to-end deployment versus a duct tape. Most often, if you talk to the companies, different external companies as well, AI sometimes become a duct tape solution. It was good, it can work, but you cannot lead strategic transformation with duct tape solutions. So you really have to go after the end-to-end transformation. Upskilling talent, I cannot stress this enough. You have to invest in driving your talent pool within the organization. One of the things that we heard in this conference, and we heard many things in this conference, and I'll quote some of those, but one of the things that we heard in the conference is the CHROs are the new CIOs and CTOs of any company, because tech is easy. This tech works. It has moved AI conversation from every boardroom to every dinner table. So we know that tech works. But what's needed is change management transformation of the employees. So how do you help drive the CHROs to move forward with the upskilling agenda of the company? And then executive buy-in. I'm one of the fortunate ones to have a fairly strong leader who's helping us move forward. So Christian Mitchell, who I don't think you have met him, but he is the one who's leading the Chief and Digital. And he is a highly driven leader for generative AI and for AI. So that helps agenda for leaders like me to be able to go in and help drive what we are wanting to do. So I'll give you some examples of some of the work that we have done, but reaching enlightenment. So again, some of the use cases that we have done is servicing and operations. So we do have a search and retrieval large language model deployed within the servicing and operations to almost 1,000 call center reps where they have this servicing. SGPT is what we call. They have it available. They can search the plethora of documents that we have for them when they're on a call with a client. So that is one that we are focusing on. Within servicing and operations, we do that. So that's the generative AI. The classical AI piece there is we are doing a forecasting for all the call center teams. Then within advisor planning, we do tons of work within advisor planning. There's one project that we are driving, which is active listening AI. And that's when we are looking at how can we fill the fact finder, pre-fill the fact finder for all of our FRs when they're having that conversation with a client. And within advisor planning, we also have tons of mathematical models, which is the propensity scores of a client that we provide to our advisors. And then in productivity, workforce productivity, Uma over here is leading the GitHub Copilot. So we have launched GitHub Copilot to almost a couple thousand engineers who are using it on a daily basis. And we are seeing, hints of greatness that are coming in. Again, we are very early in this phase of deployment. And we also have Microsoft 365. One thing I clearly see is tons of workforce productivity that's going to come in from these tools. It's at the end of the day, our imagination to help drive that forward. One of the things that set in well with me when I was at this conference, and I'm going to quote some of the quotes, which was very interesting. One of the leaders, Salim Ismail, if you haven't seen his talk or his book on exponential organization is a great book. But he used the term that Gen AI is going to hit the Paleolithic emotions of every medieval institutions with godlike technology. And I thought that was quite well said. But then Jason Calacanis was another, a good friend of Elon Musk, apparently, another very good speaker. And he said, I've yet to buy into that, but then he said, Gen AI will lead to the Ozempification of every organization. I was like, wow. So again, your organization, your AI organization's time and resources, this is how we have done it. Do what works the best for you, but driving the strategic transformation is key. Understanding where you're going to place bets, duct tape versus end-to-end transformation will be key. So first and foremost that we are going after is strategic transformation. So how do we sit down with business leaders who are driving these operations and understand what is the end-to-end transformation versus driving one solution here and there? And then R&D. I fundamentally believe in research and development within this space. So we are doing, when I think about the work that we do, even the strategic transformation, if we define that these are the 3 or 4 projects that we're going to work on, what are the different tracks of R&D that you continuously do to help drive forward a single unit of entity that's going to give you an exponential growth? Then enterprise enablement. Again, for any of the tools that you're bringing forward, work with your engineering team, work with your product team, so that it fits into the entire end-to-end ecosystem versus one-off solution. One of the things that we are quickly learning and we are driving forward is the platform modernization. You cannot do this on the old tech. It just does not work. So you have to figure out what are the platforms that you need to bring in, what are the platforms that you are retiring as you move forward. And then I talked a little bit about frameworks and policies. One of the things that we have done is every AI tool, including the GitHub engineering or any of the GPT solutions that we are handing off to the CSRs, our call center reps or field staff, we are ensuring that they take a Gen AI use training before they start to work on it. And these are all trainings that we have home built for all of these users. And then governance. Governance is key. As an AI leader, I feel like this is something that we need to make sure it's taken care of before we deploy into production. So with that, I will open it up for questions. Yes.
You spoke a lot of, oh, okay, thanks. You spoke. Hello?
It's the green one. The green mic.
Hello? Hello?
Sorry, we do have a.
Hello?
It's not.
Oh, here.
Hello?
Want the white one?
Okay.
Technical.
Hello? You spoke in several places about AI and policies and frameworks to make sure to test out the biases, et cetera. What have you done about making sure the right people are at the table so that you can have input into these language models that is diverse and inclusive? Because I think that's part of the challenge is who's at the table that's building these language models and doing the testing. So has NM done something around recruiting, around upskilling a diverse group of people? Is that something that's in your policies and in your framework?
Very good question. Very good question. So when I think about the NM policies, that is given fundamental for every role that we hire, we have to have a diverse slate. It's not only applicable to the AI team, but every team across the company. So that's part one, where we focus on hiring diverse talent, right? But what have we done for the framework and policy? So we have got within the team that I work very closely with, the privacy team, the legal team, and myself as well, and the model governance team. We sit at different external industry forums. So I sit at LIMRA and LOMA, which is the insurance industry forum, and I sit on the AI advisory board. So I help shape within that space. Then we have got somebody who sits in, one of our leaders sit in the ACLI advisory board. One of the leaders sit in the IACC, the privacy advisory board. Then there are people in the security advisory board as well externally. So we are all helping shape some of these advisory boards. Having said that, I would also say that regulations are behind, right? And it's up to us as industry leaders to be able to help shape what the regulations will become. Because we are learning, we are testing, we know what works, we know what doesn't work. We know when it hallucinates and what are the things you can do to stop those hallucinations, right? So I think there's a lot more opportunity for all of us to work closely with the regulators to help define what the industry will become.
If I could just do a follow-up.
Yeah.
I could do a follow-up comment. There is, I don't know, the board that Miriam Vogel is leading for the Congress and for the White House around these very issues where they're meeting with communities, different communities around the country, everywhere from LGBTQ plus to Hispanic, Latino, veterans, et cetera, they help shape the document that, the executive order that President Biden came out with. If you're not aware of her work, she is incredible and that team is incredible. So that's one. The other is there are groups, organizations that are training up particularly females and people of color on AI, something like Breakthrough Tech that Judy Spitz runs. I'm just very committed to this topic because I think in technology, behind what we're trying to do with Hispanics at HITEC, but also across women and all people who are underrepresented, I just think it's really important that they be sitting at the table, especially. So just a couple of suggestions that I'm throwing out there that I've run across and that I know companies that are using Breakthrough Tech to recruit, KPMG being one. In fact, she might have been at the conference. I know she spoke at it last year. Yeah, I think you probably have met her. Anyway, I'm just saying those are places that you can go to and find diverse talent being trained into AI really in very strong ways.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Yes.
Testing. Here we go. Dr. Anji, that was amazing. And your CV is very impressive.
Oh, geez.
My name is Taryn Moore, and thrown off by this echo. But what I'm thinking about is I'm here because I'm a tried and true HR professional. L&D, I'm all about making sure that managers see different ways to get work done. And so I'm curious, as you were talking about where it's in its infancy, we're trying to figure it out. I think HR becoming CTO? What are CHROs missing? Because I think that we're aligned. I'm just feeling like maybe our priorities are out of alignment. So I'm curious, what are some of the next things that you would ask of CHROs?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. So I work very closely with our HR partners. One of the things that we are seeing is every time we are deploying this tech, I said 3 months, I can deploy this tech, right? But the organization is not ready for this tech at all. It hits the Paleolithic emotions of everybody, right? So how do we get the organization ready to be able to adopt it? And that's when Christine Haas from, I would love for you to connect with her, but she is my crime and partner where we are working very closely on ensuring that we are providing this Gen AI training. So she has plans for rest of the year. We work together from the beginning of this year and all of this year as well. We have trained a couple hundred folks at NM, and that's the training I don't do at all. She works with my team and they cater, and the business partners. It's called Demystifying Gen AI, where they actually train people within the organization what it means and how do you embrace technology like this. Because the reality on the ground, and I feel like I can predict some of it, the reality on the ground is it'll be part of everything that we do, right? I was on a trip to India recently. The amount of AI ads that I was seeing on my way from the US to India it's in the backbone of everything. If we don't see it today, it will happen in 1 to 2 years. And as humans, we should be able to predict this future. It's like electricity, and I'm sure you have heard this, but it's going to happen. So the partnership with HR team is extremely critical so that you can quickly get your teams ready. The pace of innovation within AI today is faster than the pace of learning. So how do you map that out? And that's why I feel like somebody used the term CHROs as the new CIOs, because it's not the tech. But again, happy to connect you with Christine. Yes.
Can I ask?
No. So I'm Ulysses from IBM. Thank you so much. It's been super enlightening. We've been developing a lot of client zero use case because that's what clients are asking, how you're using it. And sometimes we have a hard time to really do a fair return of investment and say, what is my priority here based on what it can deliver, right? When is the right time to ditch it and don't keep going? You know what I mean? So I don't know if you have that challenge still, because we get so emotional about all the use case. We want to do it all, but sometimes it's not an AI thing. And it's okay to drop it, right?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. We had to do that because, all the use cases that are coming to us, everybody thinks that Gen AI is the answer when Gen AI is not the answer, right? So that's part one. Your team, your AI team should be able to parse out whether it's truly a Gen AI solution or not. I think the other question is when to really figure out whether you have invested enough and move on, right? I think industry and the value outcome will tell you that, right? We were as an industry, we were on an RPA journey for a number of years. When I talked to my CFO about AI, he's like, Anju, this is not the next RPA, right? And my thing is, no, it is not. We have done AI, and the industry has seen significant value from AI, right? So even in this case, again, you are asking the wrong person. I'll say continue investing in AI because I am committed. I know this will happen. The only reason this may not happen is that the change management, and I'm going to quote the humans, change management from us will be so high that it may not see light of the day, right? So how do you, and that's why it goes back to training. How do you quickly train people to get ready for this?
Hi, so my name is Shayla. I'm from IBM. So we saw a lot of organizations are starting to use AI, right? But a lot of organizations have just started experimenting with AI. So in your opinion, how would someone go from an AI experimenter to someone who's starting that path of maturity?
So that needs an organizational commitment. What I have seen, and we had that discussion when I was at the symposium, we had that discussion with a bunch of execs as well, is experimentation is fine. Every organization will do experimentation, which is your swell, your groundswell that's coming up, an organization is experimenting. But the commitment starts to happen when your exec team starts to invest in this and your board makes it an agenda. So that's when it moves from experimentation to production. Otherwise, it'll be really, you can put 1 or 2 into production, but change management will hit. You will not be able to see the transformation that you're wanting to go after. So it has to be exec buy-in is a must. At Northwestern Mutual, again, I'm one of the fortunate ones where we have a huge executive commitment on trying to see the value through it. So I am in front of the exec team once a month to really talk about and provide them an update. That's how committed the organization is. Thank you very much.
Okay. So that was amazing, right? How many of you have dared to use ChatGPT? Yeah, it's my best friend. Yeah. But something that as I was listening to everything, right, is so much information coming at us in a very fast pace. I'm an org change lead, and so I'll be remiss if I didn't share this, right? I think the biggest challenge sometimes is to bring the leadership consciousness as we use these tools. And what that means is truly bringing the element of we're still humans, we still have to review everything from beginning to end, and how do we then bring it into the organization and therefore your teams, right? So as leaders in tech, I encourage you to be advocates and ambassadors for this and pass on the word and everything you just learned here today.